Hello, this is AnlineOffline. Welcome back to another casual's quick guide to Call of Duty Mobile. For today's video, we'll be covering the Outlaw. Introduced in Season 6 along with the Cordite and free versions of the Pharaoh and Locus. The Outlaw is a bolt-action sniper from Black Ops 4 that's fed by detachable rotary mags. Due to its bizarre nature, the real-life counterpart for the Outlaw was difficult to narrow down. Between the Steyr SSG-69 and some Ruger rifles, only the archaic Blake rifle matches its description given its distinct mag and retrofuturistic aesthetic. So, why design such a gun? Late 19th century was a time of innovation and expansion. Smokeless powder was a breakthrough in Europe, and across the Atlantic with their own imperial ambitions, America held a competition to replace their Springfield trapdoors. One proposed candidate was a rifle by John Blake, with a unique mag that resembled a revolver cylinder that was removable. However, it lost to both the more conventional Norwegian Krag Jorgensen for the Army and Winchester Lee for the Navy. Both would be put to the test in the Spanish-American War. Despite being victorious, these rifles would be outclassed by enemy Mausers, and America took inspiration for a stripper-fed successor in 30-03 Springfield. Not many Blake rifles were made and would fade into obscurity. As a sniper, base damage per shot is high, but there is a drop-off. Up close, it'll one-shot anywhere above the legs like the DLQ. At mid-range, it'll one-shot above the stomach like the base Locus. At long range, it'll no longer one-shot to the forearms, which is problematic when targeting campers on head glitches. To offset this decline in lethality, the Outlaw has the second fastest fire rate amongst bolt actions at 67 rounds per minute, only behind the base Kilo Bolt. In terms of mobility, the Outlaw has the most nimble base movement of all snipers and marksman rifles. However, a maxed out XPR is still the fastest. The sprint out time is equal to most marksmen's. The base ADS speed is tied with the Mark II carbine, and when maxed, it's only outsped by marksmen's and lighter semi-autos. The base mag size is 6 rounds, and can be extended to 9 or 12, more plentiful than most snipers. Unlike most weapons, you can reload cancel faster with an empty mag than with spare rounds. As for accuracy, the Outlaw is not ideal for long range. The base breath hold is 2 seconds long like the Kilo Bolt and SBR. When adjusted for 6 times magnification, the base idle sway is equal to the SBR and slightly worse than the Kilo Bolt. Unfortunately, when Adobe shut down a Photoshop mix, I lost the PNGs I had on idle sway for snipers that I haven't covered yet. So of the ones that I've covered so far, the Outlaw and SBR have been the worst. It may have good damage up close and a relatively fast fire rate, but I'm not one to go for no-scopes. Flinch is high, but it's standard amongst snipers. When the Outlaw was released 4 years ago, it was not a good weapon and was overshadowed by its fellow released weapons. It had a slower fire rate than what we're used to, and only dealt 75 damage, which meant that it couldn't one-shot to the forearms or wallbang people even with FMJ. The following season, a new damage range was introduced allowing it to one-shot to the forearms, but this was confined to 15 meters. Thus you had to play very aggressively with its fast movement, but the DLQ, Free Locus, and Arctic 50 still overshadowed it. The gunsmith update was a net positive for the Outlaw, although it required attachments to restore some of its lost mobility. Its effective range was doubled, and it no longer had the idle sway of a DVD player. The problem was other snipers got the same treatment, and could blank scope from any range, with better one-shot areas, or hard scope with longer breath hold times. The test servers revealed its burst mode from Black Ops 4, but it had ridiculous recoil and was bugged, having infinite ammo but dealing no damage. It was accidentally released at the end of 2020 and removed 1 day later, forever scrapped and abandoned. Despite not being popular, the Outlaw was caught in a crossfire when blank scoping was nerfed, and snipers were readjusted in early 2021. The other snipers remained popular for long-range consistency. 1 year later, after many meta shifts, it gained access to the improved version of Disable, which doesn't matter on a one-shot weapon. Halfway through 2022, all weapons except the Rytech and Shorty got a buff to swap times. Season 9 introduced a new damage range and multiplier, finally allowing it to one-shot to the stomach, but this was only within 8 meters, which is better than nothing. Mobile's 3rd anniversary introduced Scope Glint, but this is only noticeable from 40 plus meters away, beyond the Outlaw's effective range. 2023 was a mixed bag for the Outlaw. Season 3 buffed its headshot multiplier, which doesn't matter in multiplayer, and increased its burst range to 12 meters. The following season gave us its current range values, and solved 2 of its biggest issues, having the shortest breath hold and worst flinch at the time. However, 2023 also introduced bullet impact, which is another variable that affects flinch. Snipers have the most impact, but it doesn't matter because most are supposed to be one-shot weapons. Instead, this is a nerf to hardscopers as it allows SMGs and ARs to threaten them. The Iron Lungs perk was buffed a couple times, and the ADS time was buffed earlier this year. That brings us to today. Is the Outlaw as much of a hitmarker machine as people make it out to be? Close range? No. Mid-range? Depends on if your opponent has decent movement. Given its inconsistent damage, sway, and breath hold, there are better long-range weapons. So it can be off-putting for someone who doesn't snipe often. So how does it compare to its fellow pure aggressive snipers? First off, the Locus. The Outlaw has faster mobility, a faster fire rate, and the ability to one-shot to the stomach up close. The Locus can one-shot to the forearms at any range, has better damage for wallbangs, and is more stable for hardscoping. And this is not factoring in stopping power, for even more consistency. Next, the 300 SBR. Both are very similar in steadiness, ADS speed, and flinch. The Outlaw has faster movement, a faster fire rate, more ammo, and is generally steadier when at its fastest. But the SBR is much less likely to hit marker at mid to long range, and has various close range optics. And lastly, the newly buffed Kilo Bolt. In terms of steadiness, they are very similar. The base Kilo has a faster ADS, fire rate, more range, and a variety of optics. But the Outlaw is more lethal up close, has faster movement, and its mag reload is less obnoxious to reload cancel than the Kilo's clips. However, I would pick the Kilo with stopping power over the Outlaw due to its damage consistency. Sure, it comes at the cost of fire rate and ADS speed, but it's only marginally behind the Outlaw. So what would I suggest for the Outlaw? It's already better than its Black Ops 4 counterpart, but we can still extrapolate some aspects. Had marksman rifles been a thing before gunsmith, the Outlaw should have been one, but it's too late for that now. What's not too late is for the Outlaw to benefit from using iron sights or reflex sights, like in Black Ops 4. This is more of a quality of life change, but I believe it would be nice to use the original animations and sound effects. Last but not least, bring back the burst attachment, but actually functional and with less ridiculous recoil. If it were a 2 to 3 shot kill with a very long burst delay, then it wouldn't be overpowered. It would also give us a reason to use recoil attachments or its 12 round mag, because a 3 round burst will burn through your ammo. But hey, that's just my opinion. This has been a Casual's quick guide. Feel free to suggest what weapons you want to see covered next. My name is On, and I'm off.